All right, here we go. Another edition. Chocolate Rocket Factory.
In
Maybe I shouldn't use
five,
Factory.
four,
A little affiliation with R.
three,
Kelly here.
two, one.
But doing something a little different. I'm actually doing this recording from a basement at our host house in St. Louis. So apologies if you hear some background noise, like Sharon coming out of the shower with no clothes on or something. Anyway, this is day 2 of the Gateway Cup, and I just spliced together 15 minutes of action. I tail gunned the first 35 minutes because there's really nothing going on. The course is wide open. I was telling one of the referees, I was like, if you take the barricades and put them on that white line there, it'll be a totally different race, or even the yellow line. But because it's so wide open and it's so safe, you don't have to really touch your brakes. Nothing is really threatening. But I mean, it's a wide open course, and the field was moving pretty good. We averaged close to 29 miles an hour. I think it was 28.8 for the 75 minutes, which is not slow. I think it'll be a little faster actually if it was more narrow. So at this point, we're about 35 minutes in. I decided to start going to the front. And you can see I'm not in anyone's way. I'm just using the right side, which is wide open, to make up spots. That was probably about 25 spots. You can see the front is going pretty slow. I'm only going 29 and I'm making up spots. So it was maybe 35, 40 spots right there. So I'm mid-pack now. I'm going to continue to just pick my way to the front, doing it without hopefully pissing anyone off. He kind of closed the door on me there, so I went inside. And then I'll pop back out and just, it's no panic here because we still have about 45 minutes to go. About 30 minutes to go, actually. We raced for 75 minutes. Yeah, pretty simple. Floyd's of Leadville, rider there, and guys are sprinting out of the corner for some reason. I don't know why. We're only going 25 miles an hour. I try to focus on not wasting energy, and when you stand up, believe it or not, you're actually using more energy than sitting down. You're not as efficient. There are times where you do need to stand up and power, but in a situation like this where the group is just kind of cruising along, it's no reason to stand up out of the saddle. Now I did stand up to stretch my legs. It's good to get off of the saddle, give your taint a little rest. So you will see my bike shake here and there. To the right there is a new LEO ambassador, Eric Marcotte. It's a good thing to have him on board. He's a great guy. So this is a spot where I wanted to stretch my legs. This guy to the left wouldn't let me out, so I just had to make some room on my own. So I got him out of the way. The Texas Roadhouse guy saw me coming, closed the door to the left, but I got a gap, boom. And this was a good move because the guys up front it was a good gap. It had some really strong players in it. Not only did I go across to the break, it allowed me to stretch my legs before the sprint. As you can see, I jumped across pretty quickly. There's Eric Marcotte again. I believe every team was represented, so I felt good about this. Turned around and we had a gap, and I'm yelling at the guys to, keep pedaling because this is a good move. Texas Roadhouse, he almost chopped me right there. He said he didn't know I was there. He apologized, no big deal. I was just like, yo. So we pushed on, and eventually we got caught. Yeah, it's just there was lack of urgency and organization, which on a course like this you have to be like full on. It's got to be all hands on deck because the course is so wide open. There's nothing technical about it. You don't have to really have any skill to ride this course. You just need to know how to turn the pedals. So this is a slight downhill going into turn 3, which is fairly fast. You can see I'm not even putting power down, and we're going 35 miles an hour. So I take my little pull because I want to see the brake succeed. As you can see, it's split a little bit. There's 5 guys in front of me, so I take a chop, take it into the corner, and then pull off, only to see the field breathing down our necks, and I literally just shut it down right here. So this is me just soft pedaling, 24 miles an hour. I Another split is starting to happen, but there's so many people in the split, I wasn't really concerned. I take my glasses off. I'm actually getting ready to throw them to my teammate Nigel, who raced a 2-3 race. So a little toss there. Get those off. The sun is going down. I had on really dark lenses. And I don't really need glasses, to be honest with you. It wasn't raining. It wasn't nothing too crazy. It wasn't a lot of debris or bugs out there. So glasses were cool, just make you look cool, but I didn't really need them. So yeah, you can see how far up I was because there's still a lot of guys behind me, but you can see how strung out the field is. I noticed that I'm getting almost last wheel, and this rider right here, no, one more, this rider right here goes, hey, Bahati, last man, butcher box. So that was cool of him. It allowed me to anticipate the last rider. So a few laps go by, and I decided it was time for me to start working my way back towards the front because the idea for me was to be in a position to where one of the bigger teams, when they got to the front, I was one of the first riders that wasn't on their team to be on the lead-out train. So similar to earlier in the race where I started to pick my way to the front, I did the same thing here. This was a perfect corner to make up spots. The outside was like a golden lane. No one was taking it. This particular time the field moved to the left, no big deal. I mean to the right. So I just went left, and that was 20 spots. And if you watch my power, you can see I'm not putting down a lot of power. I mean, I haven't even hit 300 watts yet, and I'm still passing guys. And that's the power of the Peloton. When you learn how to use the Peloton to move up, you could do it effortlessly, and which is key when you have to save energy for the finale. I mean, look, check this out. I'm coasting and I'm passing people at the same time. So drafting is your friend. You got to learn how to do it. So the start-finish stretch had a slight incline. It wasn't too bad. It actually, it got a little steeper past the finish line. We're passing right here with 10 laps to go. And I cut after that because nothing really crazy happened from 10 to go to about 3 to go. Emil Abraham's team hit the front pretty early, and I was like, okay, perfect. This is where I want to be. That's Justin right in front of me. There's another one of his teammates. I believe he's a young kid from Trinidad that Emil has brought in, and they're lining it up. And I'm in a sweet spot. This is good for me because, like I said, my motivation was to be the first guy on the lead-out train from whatever team hit the front. What I found interesting.
Hey, hands on the bars.
Yeah, I'm screaming at a guy right here because he took his hands off the bars. Not to push someone in front, but like actually push someone out of the way. And I'm not a believer in that. Like, if you're helping someone kind of go ahead, that's fine, but don't push anyone out of the way. I had to do this young kid right here kind of dirty. He was fighting me for the wheel, and that wasn't going to happen. So you see, I put him almost all the way in the park. And London Wood, a little college kid, you know. But that's the way you learn. You know, he's going to learn from this experience, hopefully, and become a better rider. So he's in the wind, just kind of in no man's land. He's fighting a losing battle. It's like pushing water uphill right there. So I'm still in a perfect spot. I think this team is going to hit the front. It's about, I think, 8 laps to go, which is fairly early. This is a really big course. It's 1.4 miles, I believe. This is a block headwind that we're going into, but it's a false flat. It's not dead flat. It's a little false flat, but still, I mean, look at the speed. We can cruise at 25, 26 miles an hour. So we're going pretty slow right now, but it's not the end of the world. And then when you come out of turn 2 right here, you can see the downhill, and the speed picks up pretty rapidly. So here's where it got hairy. Butcher Box is a team that's been on the crit circuit a couple years. They honestly was doing a really good job. They made some fundamental mistakes that if I was the director of the team, I would have a sit down with them and say, hey, here are some things you need to correct. They were going fast. They just didn't do some fundamental things correct, and it cost them. They didn't win the race. They took over with like 5 laps to go, and they weren't going slow. I mean, look at it, 30 miles an hour right now. Josh Carter is just off to my right. We grew up racing juniors together, and it was, I mean, he's got his whole team behind him, and I believe he should have just let me have the wheel instead of fighting me. You can see right there I kind of pushed him off to the right, but he's still fighting, you know. We're going through the start finish right here at 35 miles an hour, which is not slow. Butcher Box still has about 6 guys on the front, and I'm in a good spot. Heart rate is kind of high for me, 176. I would have liked for my beats per minute to be around 170, but that's what happens when you don't race races like this. It's a little shock to the body, so it is what it is, and I was motivated to finish strong, and I actually felt really good. So Josh is still fighting me. That's why I'm a little off the wheel. I'm dictating how he plays his cards, so because if I was right on the wheel, he can come up and pinch me off. So I'm a little off, and right now you can see I'm to the right, and I'm just forcing him to ride in the wind. Heart rate just shot up to 181. I'm glad I wasn't looking at that when I was racing, because it would have been really discouraging, because my max heart rate is not that high. I think my max heart rate right now is about 186. So only 5 beats away from that is pretty scary. So this is a place where you can recover. I pushed hard on the pedals just to get some momentum, and then I started to coast. 38 miles an hour is pretty quick. You know, you're talking 60 kilometers an hour before you even sprint, so, or just under 60k an hour. So I'm protecting my right, but this team did a horrible job protecting the inside, and I'm yelling at them to protect the inside. You can see a guy creeping, and if it wasn't for me kind of giving him a little bit of the business, he would have came underneath me. So that's one thing they missed out on. They're right in the middle of the road. And then whoever was on the front right here absolutely destroyed their whole lead-out train. You know, when you want to go full gas on the last lap. You don't want to go full gas, you know, with a lap and a half, 2 laps to go. I think this is a sprinter right in front of me for a Butcher Box. He's yelling at him, easy, 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 because you can't accelerate like that when the sprinter's on your wheel. All you're doing is burning matches for your guy. So as you can see, his effort allowed the group to bunch up, and this is the last turn. I'm losing position right here, but I'm still in a good spot. It's a huge lap, and I'm not really freaking out. There's Eric, solid wheel. I was expecting him to do like a late-minute dig, so I'm in a good spot. And then this guy in the blue is strong but kind of squirrely. He's unpredictable in my opinion, but he's definitely a strong finisher, and you will see that at the end. So this is 1 lap to go, about another 2 minutes, and it'll be game on sprint. It's already game on right now. You can see guys are coming back. I'm starting to lose position. You know, when the course is so big and the speeds are not extremely high, you're going to get people just coming over the top, and that's what's happening right now. So a little bit in my mind, I was like, dude, you know, should I really fight for this? Is it worth it? Because, you know, when you're in there like that, you're putting yourself at risk. You're prone to crashes and stuff like that. But I think this was the moment where I said, you know what, I did all this way. You can't be thinking about crashing. And I was only about 50%. So we're going into turn 2 in a couple seconds. And as you can see, I went from 8th wheel to about 15th wheel, which is still not bad because you have this downhill, easy spot to make up. Right in front of me is Michael Hernandez, the under 23 national champ, and so I'm still in a good space. This is where it got really bad. I wish Butcher Box like nailed it. You know, we need to be going 45 down this, except, you know, instead of 40. Here I started to hit the brakes. I got a little nervous, and then this guy right here screwed me 1,000%. Look at that, scrub speed. I'm going 23 miles an hour, and I had to get back on the gas and try to make up some space. And so I said, you know what, I'll take the hot route. Look at that, 800 watts, take the hot route on the right-hand side. I'm still about 25 guys back, but I'm moving, and I want you to pay attention to the left-hand side of the screen right here. There's the winner. Comes through, bang, get out of my way. I wish I had the legs to get on his wheel, but my little move to get back to the front cost me dearly. You can see my heart rate 187. I still think I have a chance though. I'm 9 guys back, and I go to sprint. Right here, I start to step on it, and I'm just in the 405 traffic jam. Nowhere to go, sit down, wait. And then once I start sprinting again, it's just way too late when you're going that fast. I mean, we're going 40. I peaked out at 1100 watts, but it just wasn't enough. So I slid in for 6th place. I was happy to cross the line safely. And honestly, it gave me some confidence being able to compete with these young guys that are training all the time. So thanks, Giant. Thanks, Gateway. Thanks, everyone, for competing. And